Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Sunday Brunch Stream. Has anybody found me over here at YouTube? I am no longer doing this at Facebook Live, as I have tried to inform you a number of times. So it's good to have you here if you're here. So far, I don't see any evidence of that, but so if anybody wants to throw something up in the comment threads to let me know that this is indeed working, that's always my great fear as I'm putting these things together. So anyway, welcome. Good to have you here if you are in fact here. Who knows? Let me look. There we go. It's working, according to Tony. Thank you very much, Tony. Happy Sunday to y'all. As usual, a few announcements before I begin. Really, the main one being this right here. I'd like to thank everybody very much for purchasing my new record, Kill the Truth, which is available on my Bandcamp page. So please, if you haven't checked that out there, you can stream it or download it or whatever there, and it's a good, easy way for you to throw me a few bones for all my writing and performing and all that. But those of you who have, awesome, thank you so much. I've been pretty excited about the response so far. People seem to dig it. Anyway, that's that. And, you know, this move to YouTube Live, you know, I'll be straight with you. It's like, you know, after I had doubts about how healthy my involvement with Facebook was to begin with. And after watching The Social Dilemma, it became even more clear how harmful these type of platforms can be on a lot of levels, and YouTube isn't a lot better, but as far as kind of the aspect of, you know, data mining and collecting your behavior patterns, I can't imagine anybody would spend as much time on YouTube as they would spend on Facebook, so it's a little step in the right direction. But if anybody has a suggestion as to where people are doing these live streams that's maybe an alternative to these giant corporate platforms, I'm all ears. I would love to get away from all things Google, all things Facebook, all things. I don't really do Twitter or Instagram or any of that stuff, but anyway, if you have any ideas, love to hear them. So today's show is inspired, the songs I'm going to perform are inspired by a documentary I watched recently called Streetlight Harmonies, and it's about the doo-wop era of early rock and roll, and excellent documentary, which I would highly recommend you taking a look at if you're so inclined. But I realized, I'll talk about this a little more after I play the first song, but I realized that these songs were kind of ingrained in my head, and so stuff, and I've probably been familiar with a lot of these songs for most of my life, you know, kind of starting when I was about 10 years old. And so I'm gonna bookend these with a couple of the biggest hits from the Platters. And although you might think that my music has very little to do with songs like this, I adored this singing so much as a young kid that even though I don't necessarily hear it in my records either, it must have had some impact. But this is among their most famous songs. Oh yes, I'm the great pretender, pretending that I'm doing well. My need is such, I pretend too much. I'm lonely, but no one can tell. Oh, yes, I'm the great pretender, adrift in a world of my own. I've played the game, but to my real shame, you've left me to grieve all alone. Too real is this feeling of make-believe, too real when I feel what my heart can conceive. Oh, yes, I'm the great pretender, just laughing and gay like a clown. I seem to be what I'm not. You see, I'm wearing my heart like a crown, pretending that you're still around. Too real is this feeling of make-believe, too real when I feel what my heart can conceive. Oh, yes, I'm the great pretender, just laughing and gay like a clown. I seem to be what I'm not. You see, I'm wearing my heart like a crown, pretending that you're still around, still around. The Platters. So, again, the documentary Streetlight Harmonies is what made me want to revisit some of these songs. I'm certainly not well versed enough in doo-wop music to dig out great, songs that nobody's ever heard before. So you're gonna know most of these songs, I would expect, and so. It dawned on me as I was listening to this stuff that a lot of which was recorded, maybe 5 to 10 years before I was even born. I was born in '65, and the golden era of this music occurred kind of in the mid-'50s to the early '60s. And then it kind of, these type of bands transformed a little bit. There were still all the vocal groups, but they became a different thing with Motown and the Phil Spector girl groups and stuff like that. So it was a little different than the doo-wop thing. But I was about 9 or 10 years old when the whole phenomenon hit the U.S. of this 50s nostalgia, with starting with the movie American Graffiti, and then we had Happy Days and Sha Na Na and all of that stuff. So this was, a lot of these songs like kind of hit the charts again at that time. And my brother and I, as little kids, had albums that were collections of these great 50s hits, like cheapo budget albums that Pickwick Records would put out. And so these songs kind of became really ingrained, so it's really been interesting to revisit them and understand the great influence that they had on everything that came after it, because you wouldn't have those vocal groups in the style of all the great Motown groups. You wouldn't have all the great vocal groups of the early reggae sound and everything like that without these doo-wop pioneers that no one seems to give their due. Here's a little upbeat number. This is Little Anthony and the Imperials tune. And I'm pretty sure all of these songs I'm going to play today were on the American Graffiti soundtrack. So as cornball as that might seem, it might be a good collection to have, because it's got other things like Chuck Berry and Bill Haley and all that kind of stuff on it too. But all right. This song is called Speedo, and the lyrics I found out only now say, "Now they up and call me Speedo, but my real name is Mr. Earl." Well, through my whole life I thought he was saying, "The officers call me Speedo, but my real name is Mr. Earl," which is almost a better lyric, but I'm gonna go with how they wrote it. Speedo. Now they up and call me Speedo, but my real name is Mr. Now they up and call me Speedo, but my real name is Mr. All for breeding and new fellows and for taking other folks' girls. Now they up and call me Speedo, and I don't believe in wasting time. Now they up and call me Speedo, 'cause I don't believe in wasting time. Now I've known some pretty women, and I thought that would change their minds. Well, some they call me Joe, some they call me Mo. Best man is Speedo, he don't ever take it slow. Now they up and call me Speedo, but my real name is Mr. Now they're gonna call me Speedo till they call off making pretty girls. Well, some they call me Joe, some they call me Mo. Best man is Speedo, he don't ever take it slow. Now they up and call me Speedo, but my real name is Mr. Now they're gonna call me Speedo, 'cause start making pretty girls. Speedo, not the swimsuit. I'm going to do a number by the Five Satins now, also a famous song. I also found out there are all these great songwriters that kind of only wrote for this genre, and this one is the Platter songs, for example, are written by this guy named Buck Ram, which sounded like a crazy name. It is a shortened last name. You know, of course, he was Jewish American, guy in New York. That's all this stuff like the phenomenon started in New York with guys singing on street corners and gals singing on street corners. I didn't get a chance to work up any of the songs that the female doo-wop groups did. I tried a few of them and they kind of didn't suit my voice. Maybe I need to get more in touch with my female side. But this song is interesting because as I was trying to pick songs to do for this, about at least 85% of them have the same chord pattern. So it's a common thing that was used in rock and roll. And for those of you who know how musicians speak about this stuff at all, the pattern goes from the one chord to a 6 minor to the 4 to the 5. So every time I'd find a song that was a great song, I was just like, God, there's that chord pattern again. I can't do 5 songs that have the same chord pattern in it. But this is one of the better ones that utilizes this, and a classic. Do 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 be do 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 be do 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 be do 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 be do. In the still of the night, I held you tight, 'cause I love you so. Promise I'll never let you go. In the still of the night, in the still of the night, I remember that night in May. The stars were bright above. I'll hope and I'll pray to keep your precious love well before the light. Hold me again with all of your might, in the still of the night, in the still of the night. I remember that night in May. The stars were bright above. I'll hope and I'll pray to keep your precious love well before the light. Hold me again with all of your might, in the still of the night, in the still of the night, in the still of the night. Oh, ooh, ooh, in the still of the night. Yeah, I should have warned you ahead of time. You're going to get a dose of my falsetto today, because that's part of the doo-wop thing. In a weird way, it feels funny to play these songs with, the music is called doo-wop because there are all those backing vocals going shoulda and shooby-doo, all that stuff, and it feels a little weird to do the songs without that, but it kind of makes me want to form like the the 2020 version of Sha Na Na or something. These songs are really, a lot of them really written really interestingly, coolly, and really fun to play. Yeah, I knew Barry was going to mention Frank Zappa's love of this music, and you know, I mean, but it seeps over into a ton of rock artists of the late 60s, 70s, even punk bands. You know, I mean, certainly, you know, Johnny Thunders, you know, borrowed heavily from these, and David Johansen with the Dolls, besides the later girl group stuff that both they and the you know, Ramones borrowed from. They borrowed from a lot of this stuff. Yeah, you know, Lou Reed, absolutely. Tons of bands. You have to remember that the bands of the 60s and 70s, it was like this music was the music that first like gave them that rock and roll wallop when they were young, that got them on board with this crazy new kind of music. All right, so the next one is one that I wasn't intimately familiar with. All the rest of them I've heard 1,000 times. I've sang to myself 1,000 times. But this one's by a band called the Falcons. I'm not gonna attempt to pretend like I'm the one who should educate you on the actual music history of this stuff, because my reading and listening to this stuff has been relatively limited. So there are people in this world who can point you in the right direction better than I can. But I think you'll be surprised if you go back and listen to the best of these records, how into them you are, how you might be just as into them as you are things like Chuck Berry and you know, Bill Haley and Bo Diddley and Buddy Holly and all the other like early rock and rollers that get more play. So this is a bit more soulful, a bit more bluesy than some of the others. It's called, by the Falcons, it's called You're So Fine. You're so fine. You're so fine, and you're mine. You're mine, and I walk and I talk about you. I love you. I love you. I need you. I needed you. I walk and I talk about you. Well, there's nothing in the world sweet as your kiss. So fine, so fine. Every time we meet, my heart skips a beat. You're my first cup of coffee, my last drop of tea. You're so fine. You're so fine, and you're mine. You're mine. I walk and I talk about you. Yeah. Well, there's nothing in the world as sweet as your kiss. So fine, so fine. Every time we meet, my heart skips a beat. You're my first cup of coffee, my last drop of tea. You're so fine. You're so fine. You're mine. You're mine. I talk about you. I walk and I talk about you. I walk and I talk about you. It's not hard to hear how that led to something like the earlier Marvin Gaye records, you know. Really interesting stuff to me. And I almost forgot to get to the Ramblin' Wino section here. What am I drinking today? God, he drinks so much. I'm drinking rosé. Yeah, it's the end of the season, I know. But we're having a little Indian summer. And the end of the season is a good time to drink rosé because they're on sale. And one of the things about rosé wines is that people in the industry realize that consumers think of them only as warm weather wines. So they're terrified to have any left over once you get to fall. Whenever you go into a wine shop and you're asking for wines for Thanksgiving and they say rosé goes great with the turkey dinner, it's because they have rosé that they want to get rid of. Now, rosé goes pretty great with just about anything, but let me start with a couple of the basics before I move on to exactly what I'm drinking here. Things that we in the wine business have been trying to get through people's heads for a long time now. First of all, just because it's pink does not mean it's sweet. There's tons and tons and tons of dry rosés available in this world. So these wines are sophisticated, interesting wines that people who know a lot about wine are interested in drinking. So don't think of it as white Zinfandel. It's that era is behind us, hopefully. Maybe not when you get out into Podunk. They're probably still selling it at the gas station, but as far as urban areas are concerned, we're all drinking rosé, and you should be too, because it's fun. Second, it's not really a seasonal thing. There used to be this idea that it was only good when it first came out. It's not Beaujolais Nouveau that goes bad after a few months, and it's kind of bad to begin with. Sorry, Beaujolais Nouveau. But so it's something that you should be drinking all year round. It's great with a lot of spicier foods and stuff like that. Great with just about anything, really versatile wines. Great with barbecue, great grilled foods, they're fantastic wines. So this one is from a producer called Olivares, nicely in a large type size on the label, so it actually comes across here. This is from Spain. Mostly I drink French rosés because mostly they're the best, but this is a really good one. And it comes from an area called Jumilla, which is in southern Spain, southeastern Spain. Jumilla produces a lot of red wines too, mostly made with Monastrell is the big grape there, which the French call Mourvedre. This is made from Garnacha, which the French call Grenache, and most of the rest of the world adopts what the French name for the stuff is, and just delicious wine that sells for about $10. So, Patricia, what's the T-shirt? The T-shirt, which I have worn on the show before, is Lagniappe Records in Lafayette, Louisiana, an area of the country that Joe and I hope to move to in the next 5-year span or so. Groovy little record store where I bought a bunch of cool Cajun stuff and some other things. Their slogan on the T-shirt, which you're not going to be able to read, is vinyl, tapes, and shit. So, groovy little record store in downtown Lafayette. If you're ever in Lafayette, check out Lagniappe Records. What am I playing next? I am playing a challenging one. This is the challenging one. This one, most country songs, like the ones that I play, have 3, maybe 4 chords in them. This one has like 8 different chords in it, but this was a song that really had like an impact on me. The vocal really had an impact on me when I was a 10-year-old kid and first hearing all these 50s rock and roll records that were all the rage in 1975, 76. Again, it's by the Platters. Again, it's written by Ram Buck or Buck Ram. I don't know. Can't get that completely straight. But you're going to get a heavy dose of my falsetto on this one. And you all know it. Only you can make this world seem bright. Only you can make the darkness bright. Only you and you alone can thrill me like you do and fill my heart with love for only you. Only you can make this change in me. For it's true, you are my destiny. When you hold my hand, I understand the magic that you do. You're my dream come true, my one and only you. Only you can make this change in me. For it's true, you are my destiny. When you hold my hand, I understand the magic that you do. You're my dream come true, my one and only you. One and only you. All right. I hit one wrong chord in there, but only one with so many options to go to. I consider a great personal victory. But man, I think the singer of the Platters, the lead singer, I think his name is Tony Williams, if I'm not mistaken, and that guy's voice is just otherworldly, just out of this world great. I thought about putting way more reverb on my broadcast than I usually do, because those songs sound so utterly drenched in reverb. So then, like, how can I tie George Jones into this? Because George Jones didn't really do anything that resembled doo-wop per se, but there was a period in when rock and roll hit in the mid-50s that the country music industry felt extremely threatened, as their music just suddenly became like old hat as far as the kids were concerned, and they wanted this exciting new music. And so the industry, responded in a couple of different ways. mainly they went countrypolitan. They did the really poppy sounding records with strings and stuff like that. But a number of artists, George Jones included, attempted to cash in on the rock and roll craze. And so George, who was still recording for Starday Records in this period of time, in the mid to late 50s, he recorded these records under the name Thumper Jones, where he was trying to be a rock guy, but he was kind of, I guess the Thumper Jones thing was because he didn't really like the music and he didn't want it released under his name. I think a lot of the records sound really good, and they're kind of classic rockabilly-ish sounding records. They don't sound as far from what George was doing at the time in the mid 50s as he might have thought they did, but he really thought they were garbage, and really went out of his way to diss on these records. But you should look for them because they're really great. Thumper Jones. This one was the only one I could find the lyrics to online, and because they're such oddities that even all these sites that I find lyrics on, like Lyrics Freak, Lyrics A to Z, all these sites that have lyrics, didn't have the lyrics to this one, to one of them that I wanted to do, but did have the lyrics to this one, which is about as crass an attempt to cash in on the rock and roll craze as you can imagine. It's called Rocket. Well, I'm going to the cabaret. I'm gonna bop every song. I'm gonna rock my blues away. I'm gonna rock 'em all night long. Got to eat a rockin'. Yeah, rock it. Yeah, when I'm rocking, I wanna rock with you. Yeah, all I need is a rockin' song to drive away my cares. When my baby starts to rockin', I wanna get my share. Lord, I love rockin'. Rock it. Yeah, when I'm rocking, I wanna rock it with you. Yeah. Baby's got the flow. Well, she made me bop my blues away. I don't need her no more. Oh, I love rockin'. Yeah, rockin', baby, rock my baby with you. Yeah. Well, everybody likes to do the bop. Some just a little too slow. Well, you ought to see me and my baby when we start to go. Yeah, we rock it. Yeah, and I'm rocking. I wanna rock it with you. Yeah, when I'm rocking, I wanna rock it with you. That, by the way, was almost entirely freeform, as I decided to do that song about 5 minutes before I went on the air today. So it basically only vaguely even resembles the George Jones recording. But hey, I believe I rocked it on that one. Hey, thank you all for joining me today. It's great to have you here on the new YouTube version. I saw that Barry said earlier that the stream is looking good. That was one of the things that I read, that YouTube streams are a lot higher quality than Facebook streams are, so there's an advantage. And thank you for following me here. Thank you for buying the new album. If you haven't listened to it, go to Bandcamp, search Ramblin Deano, and it'll be right there. You know, to all of you who sent me a few bones, thank you. as I got to wait till I've been waiting all week for Sunday night because I got to wait that long to see my Pack play the Saints, which is a bit of a emotional tug for me. Saints are kind of my second team. Saints and Houston are the two teams I root for besides the Pack, but Pack is number one. So go Pack. And I hope you all have a great rest of your Sunday. As always, stay safe, stay sane, stay home if you can, stay healthy. And I love you all. And I will see you right back here next Sunday. And enjoy the rest of yours. Bye-bye.